G'day vloggers, punkers, how you going? AstroPuNk here. You see my Pac-Man console? Not the reason we're here. I've been asked to do a video on Deep Sky camera app. Obviously, I'm using the S22 Ultra for this exam, but it is available on Android for most devices. Obviously, older gen stuff, it's not going to work. Each phone is different. The length of exposure varies according to the phone and how the software developer was able to hack the camera within the phone. Gives you 55 seconds on the S22 Ultra. I can push it to ISO 3200. Pixel 5 goes 32 seconds, but can go to ISO 7100. So they all vary, depends on the phone and the camera specs and the ability for the developer to hack into it and do what he needs to do. But it's why I go for the Samsung, so I can go 55 seconds with the S22 Ultra and the S22. I can push out ISO 3200, which is more than enough for deep sky stuff. Does not work on iPhone, so that's an issue. So if you've got an iPhone, this review or this how-to is it's not for you. Sorry guys. So anyway, yeah, we're going to be looking at the Deep Sky camera app on the S22 Ultra, how to use it basically. It is the app I use for all of my deep sky imaging. It's the only app I use for deep sky imaging. I sometimes use it for sort of wide field stuff, but very rarely, only if I'm doing Milky Way time lapses. Other than that, I'm using different apps to do time lapses, which I'll run through what I use for that in another video. But let's get stuck into Deep Sky camera, how to use it. So as you can see here, I have it set to night mode. Now to put it in night mode, it's as simple as clicking on three dots at the top here, coming down to settings, scrolling down here until you see where it says night mode. See there, night mode, I have it switched on. I have display always on. I have focus is manual, and I have a 5-second delay set so that once I've touched the button to take the photo, I have a 5-second delay. Noise reduction, I've got it set to the highest that I can to try and reduce some of that noise in the shot. I have 0 shutter lag set, so you can muck around with different types of shutter lag. You can have high quality, off, no shutter lag, or fast. Digital zoom, you can change it to viewfinder images, viewfinder only. I like it having it on viewfinder. Focus, infinity, so we're going to leave it on infinity from now on, but you can change it obviously. I have the delay, as I said, because I like to start the shot to know that the phone's not wobbling after I've shot it. Hot pixel removal I have set to high quality. Action, nothing. Sounds, I've turned the sounds off. I don't like the sounds. I like to create an image thumbnail, and I like to show an image thumbnail, and the reason I do that is because it allows me to see after a test shot. I always do one test shot, which I'll show you shortly. I always do a test shot, and then after that test shot I click on the thumbnail, go to the most recent shot, and then look to see if it's focused. We'll talk about that a bit more later on. File name pattern, I leave it as default. Logging a write error logging file, I don't have that switched on. So there's most of your settings. Path to images is in gallery, and have the timestamp off. Not fussed on having the timestamp on. You can have it on if you like. So they are the main settings, and once you've got those sorted and you're hooked onto your eyepiece, little eye up here gives you a series of settings. Now these settings will be a matter of how fast or slow you want the setting of the live view, and I always have it on 1 second so I can get as many stars as possible, and I also always have it up at 3200 so that I can see as many stars as possible. Can't actually change that setting, and I can't change that setting. And you can put a grid on it if you really want to. I prefer to not have a grid, and I generally don't have the histogram there. Now the other options you've got are all down the bottom here. So as you can see, you can have file type. So you've got JPEG, raw JPEG, or RAW. So I have mine set to RAW. The other options you've got, the type, you can do lights, darks, bias, dark bias, and flats. Now I only do darks and lights. I should do flats. Bit lazy of me. Other options that are in here, obviously how long you want to go. So you can go anywhere from, for me, I can go down to 1/12,000th of a second all the way up to 55 seconds. Now that, as I said, is with this particular phone, different for every phone. ISO at the moment, because the moon's up, I have it set to 800, can go all the way to 32, can go down to 50. So you've got a good lot of control there as well. So it pretty much turns this into a DSLR. That's the gap between each shot. So you can take a shot and let it have a gap between the shot. I don't like to do that. How many shots you would like, you can see the last lot I did here was 240 images, but you can change that. And it also, when you start your run, it'll tell you how long left for the whole session as an estimate. You can adjust your temperature. I sort of just leave it at about 7100. I've never really adjusted that. Shutter, can't change that, and I can't change, actually not sure what that does, so I just leave it. What does that do? Oh, that's our zoom. I'll leave it at 1x zoom. Yeah, there you go. I don't want to zoom in. I just learned something as well. Anyway, that is essentially how you set it up. So you can see I've got mine ready to go. So that's basically, well, that's the app anyway, and that's how I set mine up. I have it set up like that on both phones. That's sort of where I've got to with a whole lot of trial and error, I guess. My recommendation is to try the different settings, see what works for your phone and your telescopes. The best bit of advice there I can give. But what we will do now is we will attach this to one of the telescopes. We'll do some test shots just so you can see how it all works. So we're in the app now. Basically what I first do is I'll adjust the telescope till I know that it is focused, and you'll see it go in and out. So you'll see there we've got an object in there. I'll come up here, I want to do one test shot, and we'll do it for 55 seconds. Let's just do, maybe we drop it down to ISO 50. Let's just do a test shot on ISO 50. Check this one out, see how it came up. There we go. Now, if we wanted to, we could just do an entire run just on that object. So we could say to it, we would like to go do 240 shots at 55 seconds, and then just go, and then just go. And then what you would see here is once it starts, you can see here that this session should finish at around about 1:53 a.m. Now that'll bump out because there's a delay between each shot. So that'll probably bump out to about 10 past 2 roughly. So yeah, you know, you're up to picture one of 240, ending at 1:53, telling you how long you've got left on each shot. And that just continues to roll through. So there we go. Hope you got something out of that, and you're able to now go off and get stuck into using Deep Sky Camera app with your phone and your telescope. Very keen to see some of your results as well, that's for sure. It is, as I said, the best app out there for deep sky imaging. Unfortunately, sorry if you're an iPhone fan, it's just not going to work. If you're an Android fan, you're in luck. But until next time, AstroPuNk out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, merch at the merch store, Patreon. Merch store is astropunk.store.